Discover how a touching encounter with a little girl changed a billionaire's life forever. Jack Thornton stood tall in his polished shoes, gazing out at the snowflakes tumbling from the overcast sky, each one not unlike the ice fortress he'd built around his heart. He was a self-made billionaire in the heart of Chicago, celebrated on every magazine cover, yet painfully alone. His calendar overflowed with meetings and lavish social events, but despite the whirlwind of activity, an overwhelming void gnawed at his insides. Family gatherings grew distant, he hadn't seen his parents or siblings in months, but the loneliness was something that crept in slowly, like shadows lengthening at dusk. On a frigid winter afternoon, Jack pushed open the door to a local soup kitchen, its warmth enveloping him as he stepped inside. The dimly lit room buzzed with life, filled with the chatter of volunteers and the clink of utensils against cheap tables. His heart raced, a mix of fear and hope stirring inside him. Perhaps here, amidst those less fortunate, he could reconnect with the humanity he felt slipping away. That's when he saw Hermia, an 8-year-old girl, cradling a bowl in her tiny hands. Her laughter rang through the room, pure and joyous, cutting through the fog of his isolation. Despite her tattered clothing, her spirit shone brightly as she shared crumbs of bread with other children, her chocolate-brown eyes sparkling with dreams that seemed too big for her small frame. "Hey, mister," she chirped, her smile infectious. "Why don't you ever visit home?" Her innocent question hit Jack like a freight train. It pierced through the layers he had so carefully constructed, unraveling the facade of success he had built around him. Awareness flooded over him as he realized how far he had drifted from those who mattered most. The holidays were approaching, yet the warmth he craved felt like an unreachable star, twinkling in the abyss of his frigid reality. Before he could think, a decision bubbled up from deep within. Jack knelt down beside Mia, his heart swelling with a purpose he hadn't known in years. "How about I take you on an adventure?" he asked, surprising even himself with the tenderness in his voice. Her eyes widened, a mix of disbelief and joy. "Really?" she gasped, her laughter like music. "Really?" he confirmed, and in that moment, he felt a flicker of meaning reignite within him as if he had stepped out of a fog, standing in the sunlight once more. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Jack introduced Mia to a world beyond the walls of her impoverished neighborhood, she sparkled with curiosity. Streets turned into vibrant canvases, and Jack found himself laughing again, a sound that had become foreign. The connection blossomed. But with every smile, criticism brewed in Jack's upper-crust circle, who dismissed his efforts as virtue signaling. The sneers he received stung harder than he anticipated. When Mia's family faced eviction, everything changed. As the stakes heightened, Jack started peeling back the layers of systemic inequality suffocating his city. Would he stand up as Mia's reluctant champion or allow his past to shadow his future? As the cold of winter settled in, Jack's journey path twisted unexpectedly, leading him to question everything he thought he wanted. With friends and foes alike watching, could he reclaim not only Mia's future but the warmth of his own humanity? The uncertainty hung heavy on the snowy streets of Chicago, leaving readers eager to discover which path Jack would ultimately choose. Jack found himself staring blankly at the eviction notice pinned to the small apartment door. It was a brutal sight, shocking and raw. For Mia's family, this meant the end of their home. Jack's heart raced, a visceral response to the harsh reality he had championed against for so long. He had taken Mia out for ice cream, watched her giggle as she let loose a snowball at him during their downtown excursion, but here, the walls of his affection were crumbling. Could he really stand by and let her lose everything due to forces he had often ignored? The days grew colder, but a fire ignited in Jack's heart. He needed a plan. After all, he had the resources, the connections, the ability to do something bigger than a fleeting adventure. With Mia as both his guide and inspiration, Jack dove into the invisible world of predatory rents and unyielding systems. With every statistic he uncovered, every broken heart he witnessed, the layers of his once isolated life peeled back. He stood in meetings with city officials. He spoke passionately about support systems for struggling families and the need for rental assistance programs. The dialogue was often met with dismissive glances, yet he pressed on, refusing to let fear rear its head. Each moment was a test, challenging the billionaire in him to eschew his lavish comforts for something that ignited his soul. Mia was at the heart of his every argument. Her laughter echoed in his mind, especially during the long days spent reading through reports. Would he have the strength to fight when the fight felt insurmountable? With every late night and early morning, the threads of their lives intertwined further. Jack came to see Mia not just as a child in need, but as a mirror reflecting the best version of himself, but shadows of doubt lingered. Was this altruism or a mere distraction from the hollowness that otherwise awaited him? The whispers from his social circle still stung, turning the warmth in him to a prickling anxiety. Was he really capable of changing anything, or was he just playing savior for the cameras while allowing his own moral delinquency to flourish unchecked? Then he received news from Mia's mother. They were scheduled to be evicted at the end of the month, and he had a decision to make. Jack knew he could cover the family's rent for months, but the implications of such an action raced through his mind. His phone buzzed. A text from Mia lit up the screen. "Can you come to the soup kitchen tomorrow? I have a surprise." A smile broke across Jack's face, momentarily dispelling the weight of the world pressing down on him. He saw a chance to connect with her again, to reinforce the bond they had built against all odds. Yet, a sinking feeling settled in his stomach. Was he strong enough to face her, knowing how close they were to defeat? As Jack rolled through the snowy streets toward the kitchen, questions chased after him like relentless shadows. He felt pulled between the billionaire he was projected to be and the man he was slowly becoming, one driven by compassion. When he entered, a wave of warmth washed over him, but it did little to quell the storm inside. Mia darted toward him, her excitement like a firefly in the dim room. "You came," she cried, practically glowing. In that moment, facing her sweetness and innocence, Jack knew this wasn't just about a cause, it was about him choosing to be part of something real. But would this connection be enough to fuel a turning tide? Would his new path snatch both Mia and himself from the brink of despair, or were they bound to fall together? Jack's heart raced as questions of hope and fear intertwined, leaving him on the edge of a decision that would inevitably change everything. Mia grabbed Jack's hand, her fingers warm and small against his. She led him through the bustling crowd inside the soup kitchen, where laughter intertwined with the smells of garlic and simmering broth. Tables were filled with families, exchanging stories, sharing moments over steaming bowls. Jack couldn't help but notice the sense of community, something he had never truly understood until that moment. "Here!" Mia exclaimed, stopping abruptly in front of a long table piled high with art supplies. She pointed to a canvas adorned with splashes of vibrant colors. It was a messy explosion of childhood joy, a community project that folks had been working on for weeks. "I wanted to show you how we've been helping everyone express themselves," she beamed. Jack knelt next to her, his heart swelling with pride. This was Mia's territory, where her spirit shone brightest. He wasn't just an outsider anymore, he had been invited into a world where hope flickered in every brushstroke. As they chatted with others at the table, Mia introduced Jack as her friend. It felt nice. No titles, no expectations, just a simple connection. One woman, her hands wrinkled and worn, shared her story of loss and struggle. Jack listened, awed by her resilience. The people surrounding him were not just the others he'd read about in reports. They were real, vibrant lives, pulsating with dreams and heartbreak alike. When Mia handed Jack a brush, she said with bright eyes, "You should paint too." For a fleeting moment, he hesitated. He could already hear the voices in his head, the ones mocking him for stepping out of his prescribed role. But with a quick glance at Mia's encouraging smile, He dipped the brush into the cerulean paint and let it dance across the canvas. It felt liberating, like throwing off a heavy coat. With each stroke, the colors infused his spirit with warmth, casting away whispers of doubt that he could sense the observers around him. Children giggled while others painted beside him, creating a tapestry of humanity. Jack's laughter mixed into the stew of sounds, and for once, he had forgotten about the eviction notice that loomed over Mia's family, but as the painting session wound down, another wave of reality crashed into him. This community might foster joy, but outside these walls, vulnerable lives teetered, like his newfound hope. Was it enough to simply be here, in this moment, while knowing Mia faced eviction soon? Mia tugged at his sleeve, bringing him back. Can we do this every week? The shine in her wide eyes felt like a promise. We can paint and have fun. It'll be our secret. Jack swallowed hard. Of course, he replied, feeling a bittersweet twinge. The joy in her eyes was contagious, but it was tangled with the oppressive weight of urgency. But we might need to create more than just art. Like what? She asked, tilting her head. He stood up, gathering courage as people began cleaning up around them. Like maybe finding a way to help people like us, so no one else has to feel what you're feeling. Mia's brow furrowed, contemplating his words. You mean like the superheroes in my books? Jack chuckled softly, realizing how serious this had suddenly become. Yes, something like that. But we would be the super team, not just you and me, but everyone in this room. Her eyes sparkled as Jack spoke. But just then, a shadow loomed. The reality of their situation still snaked its way into the forefront of his mind. As people began to disperse, an uneasy thought lingered. What if he couldn't forge a path out of this darkness? Would he be brave enough to fight for something bigger than a canvas? The way Mia believed he could. Jack felt the challenge weighing on him, yet also a flicker of determination rising. Could he truly transform this connection into something life-changing? As they stepped outside, chilled air whipped around them, but Jack stood firm, bolstered by the child at his side. Let us get back inside. I have a plan. The wind howled, and with that whisper, Mia smiled, mirroring the flicker of hope in his heart. Would Jack's newfound purpose guide him toward the answers he desperately needed, or throw him deeper into the chaos he feared? The soup kitchen bustled with activity as Jack and Mia stepped back inside. The warmth enveloped them, a contrast to the sharpness of the outside world. Jack scanned the room, determination firming in his chest as he turned to Mia. All right, he said, his voice steadying. We need to start brainstorming. What do people really need? It's more than just a meal, it's about hope, stability. Mia nodded, her features still aglow, but Jack sensed a hint of uncertainty lurking behind her excitement. She was a child, yet he'd seen wisdom in her eyes. Can we really do something big? She asked, her voice small but brave. Why not? We can gather more people, more kids. If we find enough folks who want to help, we could organize art nights or workshops, anything to bring people together again, he suggested, his voice gaining strength with each sentence. Her eyes brightened again as she grinned. Like a club? We can call it the Super Painting Squad. Jack couldn't help but laugh, the sound full and rich. The Super Painting Squad it is. But we can be more than just artists. We can find resources, shelter, food, maybe even legal help for families who face eviction. He felt the teenage heaviness lift, replaced by a new purpose carving out space inside him. But then reality crashed down again. But it can't just be us, Mia. We need to reach out to everyone. The room quieted as they spoke, the energy drawing attention from nearby tables. Several heads turned their way. Jack realized he was standing taller now, having shed the self-doubt that threatened to pull him back down. Listen up, everyone. He called, catching the curious gaze of those gathered. Mia and I are starting something big. We want to create opportunities for all of us. If you're interested in helping out, if you believe in hope, come talk to us after dinner. A few faces lit up, intrigued. Jack's heart raced. Would they join him? Mia skipped ahead, her enthusiasm infectious. Can we paint our dreams too? Can we put them up to remind everyone that it's possible? Absolutely. Jack affirmed, feeling it spark a flicker in his heart. This was bigger than art. Bigger than an escape for Mia. It was about community, about building a bridge between despair and possibility. As dinner was served, laughter and chatter resumed. Jack and Mia sat at a table filled with families, voices raised in conversation and joy. He watched Mia interject her ideas excitedly, her confidence spilling over into those around her. He felt a swell of pride. But in a quiet moment, as the sounds hummed around them, Jack's mind twisted back to that eviction notice. He couldn't ignore it. Mia? He asked, leaning close to her, concern etched across his face. What if it doesn't work? What if we can't raise enough support? Mia looked serious for a moment, those deep, wise eyes meeting his. Then we keep fighting. Because that's what heroes do, right? Yeah, Jack breathed, swallowing hard. But what if? Suddenly, a man from across the table, who had been quietly listening, chimed in, "It won't be easy, kid. But life isn't supposed to be easy. We all have our battles. The real test is how we face them together." His words hung in the air, a challenge and a promise all at once. Jack felt the collective weight of shared struggle press in, but also the stirring of hope. Would they be brave enough to move forward and truly act? Could their vision transform lives, including Mia's? As the conversation swirled around him, a fire ignited within Jack. "Let us finish dinner, and then we'll get started," he said to Mia, feeling the urge to act rippling through him. As they wrapped up their meal, Jack couldn't help but wonder. Would his brave vision survive the tough road ahead, or would it falter under the weight of reality? The challenge loomed, but so did the hope. Would they be able to set the world alight with the flicker of their dreams? The chatter in the soup kitchen faded into a soft hum as Jack and Mia gathered their things, their spirits still buzzing with excitement. Jack could see a flicker of determination behind Mia's bright eyes. It inspired him to think of what lay ahead. After dinner, they moved to the corner of the room, where a faded chalkboard hung dimly in the light. It was a perfect place to bring the super painting squad to life. With a half-broken piece of chalk, Jack drew a banner, scrawling "Super Painting Squad, let us make dreams happen" across the top. "Do you think people will really come?" Mia asked, her small hands fidgeting with the edge of her shirt. "I think they will. We just have to show them that it matters," Jack replied, his voice firm. "This is about more than art. It's about connection." As people began to finish their meals and move about the space, Jack and Mia put up makeshift flyers that announced their idea. "Please join us," Mia chirped, directing her energy toward anyone who passed by. Jack watched as she spoke with families, her earnestness a bridge to many hesitant hearts. Little by little, a small group gathered. A teenage girl named Leah, an older gentleman named Mr. Harris, and a shy boy named Timmy were the first to step forward. Each had their own dreams, ideas brewing in their hearts, but all felt too timid to express them. "Painting, huh?" Leah mused, her hands stuffed into the pockets of her jacket. "I used to love that. But would we even know how to do it? Learning is part of it." Mia chimed in, her eyes sparkling. "What matters is that we try. We can help each other." Mr. Harris nodded slowly. "You know, back in my day, we had community gatherings. We shared stories, art, and laughter. It brought hope." His voice carried a warmth that made Jack envision an entire community rallying together. "See?" Jack said, feeling a wellspring of hope welling up. "Let us start with that. What if we come together to share not just our art, but our stories too?" The early conversation ignited a spark. Ideas flowed freely, painting their aspirations in vivid strokes. Some wanted to create murals that expressed their experiences, Others envisioned a collective gallery so that dreams could be seen by everyone in the community. Hope enveloped the space, growing like a vibrant vine reaching for the sun, but amidst the excitement, Jack felt the weight of responsibility settle on him. "Hey guys," he said, trying to ensure everyone felt included. "We need to find a place to meet regularly. We can't let this excitement die down." Mia's face lit up with inspiration. "What about my school's art room? We could use the supplies they have." "That's a great idea, Mia," Jack exclaimed, but doubts surged through him. What would the school say? Would they welcome outside kids? Would it even be allowed? Just then, Timmy, who had been quiet, spoke up. "If you ask them nicely, maybe they'll help. My sister works there. She always says, you never know what people will say unless you ask." Jack smiled, heart swelling at Timmy's simple wisdom. Kids had a way of seeing things clearly. "All right. We'll ask. Together." As the group finalized plans for the days ahead, laughter filled the air around them. The environment transformed, it felt electric with energy and possibility. Jack couldn't ignore the stirring feeling inside that something truly special was being born, but amid the laughter, darkness still loomed over Jack's life. That eviction notice flickered in the back of his mind. What if creating this dream for Mia and their group stole time from solving his own problems? Would he buckle under the pressure or step into the light? As they wrapped up their first gathering, Jack caught Mia's eye. "We can do this, right?" he asked, hoping the flickering hope wouldn't dim. "Of course. Everyone should know they have a place," she replied confidently, weaving her fingers through the air like an artist creating a masterpiece. The hum of their ideas echoed in Jack's heart, but the weight of reality still pressed inward. As he stepped away from the group, he couldn't shake the gnawing tension in his stomach. Would they rescue each other? Would this group really challenge the obstacles they faced? The night was alive with the possibility of change, yet the need for resolution loomed, casting a shadow over Jack's newfound purpose. Could he find the way out before it all fell apart? The next morning, Jack woke up to a dull gray light leaking through the thin curtains of his small apartment. He stretched out, trying to dispel the heaviness in his chest, but it lingered like a shadow. Today was important. They were going to ask for the art room at Mia's school, and he could feel the weight of expectation behind each breath. He hastily dressed and grabbed a quick breakfast, barely tasting the cold cereal as thoughts raced through his mind. What if the school said no? What if they laughed at him for even trying? The doubt was like a cold sweat, but as he thought of Mia and the group, that flickering hope nudged him forward. At the soup kitchen, everyone was buzzing with anticipation. Mia stood in front of the chalkboard, lost in thought, the vibrant banner shimmering with possibility. "Are we ready?" she asked, glancing up as Jack approached. Her simple enthusiasm was infectious. "We are," he responded, feeling a swell of courage surge within him. Mitchell, the kind-hearted volunteer who often helped clean up the kitchen, walked up. "So you kids are really going for it, huh?" His smile was warm, crinkling the corners of his eyes. Jack nodded vigorously. Mia piped up, "We're going to ask if we can use the art room for our super painting squad meetings." Mitchell chuckled. "I think that's a wonderful idea. Just remember, sometimes all it takes is one person to say yes." They made their way to the school, the three of them, Jack, Mia, and Timmy, feelings bubbling like fizzy soda as they approached the building. The sun broke through the clouds, illuminating their path. "Okay, let's just ask for Ms. Thompson," Jack said, trying to sound more confident than he felt. "She's the art teacher, right?" Timmy nodded eagerly. "Yeah. My sister said she loves kids doing creative stuff. Just be nice." As they entered the school's art wing, the smell of paint and paper filled the air, a comforting embrace. Jack's heart raced as they found Ms. Thompson surrounded by colorful creations made by her students. Jack took a deep breath, stepping forward. "Excuse me, Ms. Thompson." The woman turned, her brown eyes bright with curiosity. "Hello. What brings you all here? She asked, tilting her head slightly. Mia took the lead, her voice steady despite her excitement. We want to start a group for kids to paint and share stories. We were hoping we could use the art room after school, if that's okay. Ms. Thompson's brow furrowed for a moment, considering. Jack felt his heart thump harder. What would she say? She said slowly, her lips curling into a smile. That sounds incredible. I think we could arrange something. Relief washed over Jack like a gentle wave. Really? Of course. But I need to see how many kids would join. We need to make room. They began to chat, ideas flowing from Mia and Timmy with eagerness, and Jack felt that spark of collaboration that had ignited the night before. Ms. Thompson was genuine, her passion spilling over as she discussed art projects and what they could create. As their conversation ended, she said, "Why don't you all come back with a list of everyone who would like to participate? I love that you kids want to inspire your community." "Thank you," Mia exclaimed, bouncing a little on her toes, her joy bubbling over. Jack felt buoyed by Mia's enthusiasm, but behind it, the weight gnawed at him again. This triumph felt like a momentary light against the darkness of the eviction notice. Could he balance his responsibility in this project? As they left the school, elation mixed with apprehension. The trio walked back through the vibrant city streets, still buzzing about their success. Jack reveled in their conversations, but he knew something had to change. He could feel it deep down, the clock was ticking, they had a chance now, but what about his own dreams? Would pursuing this path with Mia and the group lead him closer to solving his worries, or would it just draw him further away? With every step, doubts mingled with questions about what lay ahead. What more could they accomplish together? Would this project truly reshape their destinies, and would Jack find a way to confront his own fears before it slipped from his grasp? Jack felt the weight of the world pressing down as he walked alongside Mia and Timmy, the chatter of their plans swirling around him like leaves caught in a brisk autumn wind. He smiled at their enthusiasm, but his heart was heavy with the reality of his situation. Every joyful laugh from Mia reminded him of the ticking clock, and every bright idea echoed the uncertainty he faced at home. "Jack, are you listening?" Mia's voice cut through his thoughts sharply, pulling him back to the present. Yeah. Just thinking about the list," he replied, trying to sound more absorbed than he felt. "Are you worried about it?" Timmy asked, his innocent curiosity striking a chord in Jack's chest. "No, it's just we'll need to think of everyone who might want to join." "It can't just be us," Jack said, hesitating. Mia saw right through him. "You're worried about your stuff at home, aren't you?" Jack's breath caught. He was usually good at hiding the crushing weight of life's problems, but Mia had this way of seeing through to the truth. "I'm fine," he said too quickly. "Aha. Let us focus on the art," she replied, her enthusiasm contagious despite the concern in her voice. But as they settled back into their plans, Jack couldn't shake the looming sense of dread. He offered warm nods and bright smiles, but inside, it felt like storm clouds were gathering. They arrived back at the soup kitchen, where the day's work awaited them, eager to be tackled. With each stroke of a brush, Jack felt a small piece of the tension ease away. They set up a new project, painting a mural on a large canvas that would eventually hang in the kitchen. Striking colors filled their afternoon, laughter echoing through the space as they mingled with other volunteers. "Look, Jack. Isn't this color perfect for the sky?" Mia shouted, waving a brush dipped in a brilliant blue. "Yeah. It'll look amazing," he replied, relishing in the collaboration, yet glancing at the clock above the sink. Each tick was a reminder the eviction notice still loomed in the back of his mind, a constant intruder in his joy. Hours slipped by until they were all exhausted but filled with a sense of purpose. As they packed up for the day, Jack felt a surge of determination. They had something real now, a project that could bring light to others. Maybe, just maybe, it could also illuminate his own path. Mia, he said, usually too shy to approach such topics but feeling the urgency push him forward. Can we meet up tomorrow? Just us. I want to talk about how to make this group really happen. Of course. She replied, her eyes sparkling. This is going to be amazing. As night settled in and Jack walked back to his apartment, the weight on his soul seemed to lift a little. He could do this. He could balance dreams with responsibility, just like the kids in their super painting squad were learning to bring color to their lives. But when he opened his door, the starkness of his reality hit him anew. The eviction notice lay crumpled on the counter, demanding attention and action. Suddenly, his fleeting hope felt fragile against an immediate deadline. As sleep beckoned, one thought lingered in his mind: could the art room truly be a lifeline not just for kids, but for him too? With a heart full of questions, he drifted into a restless slumber, unaware that tomorrow would bring a turn he never anticipated. What if the art room held not only creativity but an unexpected witness to his struggles? Would inspiration strike where he least expected it? Jack woke up to the soft slant of morning light creeping through the thin curtains. For a moment, he felt a fleeting sense of peace, but reality flowed back in like a cold tide when he glanced at the eviction notice. The words seemed to burn into his memory, a reminder of everything that was hanging by a thread. It was a stark contrast to the vibrant colors he demixed yesterday in the art room. With a heavy sigh, he got ready for the day. The weight of his situation clung to him like a heavy coat. Today he needed to meet Mia and hope that they could carve out a way forward not just for the art group, but also for his own life. The soup kitchen buzzed with early morning activity as Jack stepped in. Volunteers were already setting up tables and preparing ingredients. But his mind was set on meeting Mia. He wasn't sure if he was ready to unpack his burdens, but something inside compelled him to share. When he spotted Mia, setting up her brushes on a nearby table, her face lit up. Jack! Perfect timing! She exclaimed, brushing her hands together, the remnants of paint still smudged on her fingers. She always seemed to come alive when it came to art. I've got ideas for our first mural. Hey, that's great! Jack replied, trying to match her excitement. He cleared his throat, preparing to delve into the hard part, but Mia was already pulling him into a discussion of colors and themes. As plans filled the air, Jack forced down the urgency he felt. They exchanged ideas, each suggestion followed by laughter. It felt good, but that heavy knot twisted tighter in his stomach. Eventually, having talked the better part of an hour, he took a deep breath. Mia, can we talk about something important? He was surprised that the words had slipped out so easily. Her smile faded slightly, replaced by an attentive frown. Sure, what's up? Jack shifted, glancing around to ensure no one was within earshot. It's about my home. I'm facing eviction. I don't even know what I'll do next. I just thought maybe you could help me brainstorm some ideas. Mia looked at him, concern etched across her young, bright face. Oh, Jack, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. There was a sincerity in her voice that softened the edges of his anxiety. Yeah, it's been tough. He rubbed the back of his neck, feeling the urge to crack a joke but knowing this wasn't the time. And I want to focus on this art project too. It's okay to feel overwhelmed, she interjected gently, her eyes warm and understanding. Do you want to talk about it more? Just then, a little girl named Lily, one of the younger volunteers, wandered over, her innocent curiosity interrupting their serious moment. Can I paint too? She asked, her eyes wide, holding a tiny brush in her hand. Jack smiled, bending down to her level. Of course. You can help us bring the mural to life. Lily grinned. That simple, genuine joy radiated from her and filled the entire room. It struck Jack hard, illuminating a flicker of hope in him. As they started mixing colors with Lily's enthusiastic guidance, he felt the shadows begin to recede, if only for a moment. The laughter they shared while painting pushed back against his worries. Art was proving to be a balm for the wounds he carried, but as they painted, Jack couldn't shake the feeling that change was on the horizon. He sensed that today wasn't just about art, it was about connection and support. He just didn't know yet how profound that support could truly be. As the mural took form, Jack found himself wondering, would this little girl be the key to unlocking a solution he hadn't seen? What if art, in the hands of a child, could spark a moment that changed everything? Jack lost himself in the rhythm of the paintbrush gliding across the canvas. With every stroke, the colors transformed into shapes and images that spoke of hope and resilience. Lily's laughter was infectious, and as they created, he felt a weight lift, if only temporarily. "Look! I made a rainbow!" Lily exclaimed, pointing proudly at a swirl of colors. Her little hands were covered in blue and yellow, and she wore it as a badge of honor. "That's beautiful, Lily." "Rainbows bring joy," Jack replied, smiling wide. Perhaps joy was exactly what he needed, a reminder that beauty could emerge even from chaos. As they painted together, Mia stepped back to survey the mural. The colors popped against the bare wall, and for a moment, everything felt right. "This is going to be amazing, Jack. And look at how much fun we're having." "I know. It's like therapy," he chuckled, but the laughter had a slight edge. There was still the looming threat of eviction in the back of his mind. The walls could come crashing down on him any day, and he had to find a way to stay afloat, but the look on Lily's face, full of wonder, pulled him back. She was engrossed in their workspace, mixing paint, telling stories, her creativity boundless. Jack wondered then if there was something deeper in what they were doing, a connection that could forge solutions from their shared joy. "Jack! Look at this!" Lily's voice drew him back into the moment. She had created a huge sunflower, golden petals reaching wide. "This is me growing up. I'm going to be as tall as that." "Absolutely, you will," he said, a swell of joy rising within him. It hit him then like a gust of wind, her infectious energy and innocent outlook held an unexpected power. Maybe what he needed was not just mere solutions, but to harness that hope she represented. As the painting session wrapped up for their morning, volunteers began preparing for lunch. Jack noticed Mia deep in thought, her paint-streaked hands resting on the edge of the table. "Mia?" he ventured, sensing something shifting inside her too. "What are you thinking?" She turned to meet his eyes, her expression earnest. "I was thinking about the mural, how it could be more than just colors on a wall. What if we turned this into a community project? Invite everyone to contribute?" Jack felt a spark ignite in his chest. That could work. We could involve more kids, more people. It could really lift the spirits of those struggling around here. Mia's eyes lit up. "Exactly. And we could raise awareness for the soup kitchen. Maybe even attract some local businesses for support." Exhilaration rushed through Jack. Everything seemed to slow down, like the world had shifted slightly in their favor. Their little mural project had the potential to become something bigger, a movement of sorts. He caught a glimpse of a way out, not just for himself, but for others who felt lost. "Let us do it," he said with conviction. With each passing moment, the heaviness on his heart began to lighten. "Let us make it happen." As they flushed with ideas, laughter, and plans filled the kitchen again. Yet, a small voice knocked insistently at the back of Jack's mind. What if it wasn't just about the mural? What if together, they could build something that transcended their individual struggles? That night in bed, beneath a flickering light, Jack couldn't sleep. He thought of Mia, Lily, and the colors they mixed together. A plan was forming, but uncertainty loomed. Could they really draw people in? Could one mural truly make a difference? The next morning, as Jack prepared his thoughts, a new determination burned within. He stilled for a moment, poised on the brink of something that felt bigger than himself. Would he have the courage to lead this change? As he stepped into the day, he realized that some answers lay not just in the sprouting colors of a mural, but in the connections formed along the way. What challenges would arise as they set their plan into motion? Would it bring them together or tear them apart? The sun broke through the clouds on the day of the mural's unveiling. Jack stood in front of the soup kitchen, surrounded by Mia, Lily, and a growing crowd of familiar faces from the neighborhood and the kitchen. Excitement buzzed in the air like an electric current. Today wasn't just about paint and dreams, it was about community, hope, and determination. Jack glanced around at the faces that had gathered. Families, children, and friends, all united by one purpose. Mia stood next to him, her eyes sparkling with anticipation, her small hands tugging at the hem of her shirt, unable to contain the energy radiating from her. "Can you believe it?" she exclaimed, bouncing on her toes with pure delight. "We did it, Jack. Look at everyone here." Jack felt his heart swell. Despite his worries about eviction still lurking in the shadows of his mind, witnessing the strength of this community lifted him beyond the confines of his own struggles. "This is just the beginning, Mia," he said, feeling his own words resonate deeper than he intended. As the crowd settled, a warmth enveloped them, pulling the moment into focus. Jack took a deep breath and stepped forward to the makeshift podium, hand trembling slightly as he held the microphone. He looked into the faces before him, familiar and unfamiliar alike, and felt empowered. "Thank you all for coming," he started, his voice gaining strength with every word. "Today isn't just about a mural. It's about each of you. It's about how we can create change together, one brushstroke at a time." The crowd murmured in agreement, nodding heads and supportive smiles bolstering his confidence. "We've built something incredible in just a few days with the super painting squad," he continued, locking eyes with Mia, who was beaming with pride. "But this is just a spark. We need to keep fanning the flames, bringing in more voices, more dreams. And we can't stop here. Each of us has a part to play in helping those less fortunate among us." There was a ripple of conversation as people engaged, absorbing his words. They were ready to act, not just listen. Sudden laughter erupted from Lily, who slipped forward urgently. "Can we paint more things? Like a big heart?" Jack couldn't help but smile at her enthusiasm. "Absolutely. And we can paint stories too. Real stories from people who have faced struggles and overcome them. Showing everyone that hope exists, even in the toughest of times." Cheers erupted from the crowd. Jack felt their collective spirit a powerful force, igniting the air around him. With that, the unveiling of the mural began. The fabric covering it fell away to reveal a stunning explosion of colors, a representation of resilience, love, and dreams that entwined all the vibrant lives of those present. There was a rainbow, a sun, flowers just like the ones Lily had painted, all woven into a beautiful tapestry of a shared journey. The reactions were immediate gasps of joy, raised hands, and applause filled the room. They all felt that this wall wasn't just art, it was a declaration of hope. Tears brimmed Jack's eyes as he took in the moment. This was what he had wanted all along, a genuine connection, a way to reclaim himself from the isolation that had haunted him. Mia jumped up, her giggle infectious, and waved, "Hey everyone. We can do this every week, right? Yes. And tell more people. We should all be superheroes together." A cheer erupted, and people started shouting their ideas, their laughter bubbling over. Jack felt alive, surrounded by the energetic pulse of humanity thriving against adversity. That day, the foundation was laid not just for a mural or art lessons but for a community united in purpose. And with each stroke of paint, each shared story, they began to break down barriers built from fear and loneliness. They stood together, artistically crafting not just beauty on the wall, but a vision of the future. But as the day wound down, the realities of Jack's personal hurdles loomed just behind the glowing joy. He watched Mia and Lily help clean up, their laughter ringing in harmony with the promise of upcoming adventures, but inside, Jack knew he had some heavy lifting to do regarding his situation. The next day, he resolved, would begin the most significant journey yet, not just for the mural but for his own life. With the community behind him, he would find a way to fight through the bureaucracy that threatened to tear Mia's family apart. Maybe together, they could transform lives, embrace their fears, and foster real change, not just for themselves, but for everyone in their little corner of the city. That night, as Jack lay in bed, he felt lighter. For the first time in a while, he had a glimpse of what family could look like once again, found not in blood but in connection. And if a simple mural could spark that, there was no limit to what a superhero team could achieve. Now, it's your turn. You need to subscribe now to our channel so you won't miss the next exclusive stories that inspire change. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support. Seriously, it makes a difference. Comment below, share your feelings and reactions about Jack's journey and how it resonated with you. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us spread hope together.